Hello, dear traveler. Welcome. You've come far today. I can feel the stillness in your breath, the hush behind your eyes. You don't need to hold anything right now. No weight, no worry. Let your shoulders drop. Let the muscles around your eyes release. Let your tongue rest gently behind your teeth. Let your breath come in soft and slow. Like mist curling through pine trees. Like ashes falling from a quiet sky. The wind outside your window. It knows this rhythm, the earth beneath you. It hums it gently in your bones. So come now, sink into the soft, nestle into the hush. Your body will rest, and your mind will wander. Our story tonight begins in a place where the sky has forgotten how to shine. They call it the hollow sky, a world of faded stars and ash-heavy winds, where no sun rises and no moon ever falls. It's only drifting clouds of silver soot and a light that comes from memory, not from fire. And beneath that sky, among ruined towers and silent hills, walks a keeper. The last lantern keeper of Avrith. Her name is Illyra. Illyra walks barefoot through the ash, not because she must, but because the ash remembers. She is the last one left. Who remembers what it whispered? Each step leaves a faint impression in the gray dust, a ripple in a sea of stillness. Her lantern glows beside her, not with flame, but with a flickering breath of light, barely brighter than a dying firefly. She cradles it like one might cradle a newborn bird, fragile, delicate, sacred. You see, this lantern isn't just a light. It is the last ember of the skyfire, the final warmth of a forgotten sun, the only thing that keeps the hollow sky from swallowing the world whole. And it is fading. Illyra doesn't know where the Ashwings come from. No one ever did. Only that, when the ember dims, they appear. Wings made of stardust and sorrow, feathers of smoke and forgotten names. They drift from the sky like prayers that were never answered. Terrible. And when they sing, the world listens. Because their song doesn't have words, it has memory. Illyra walks to the edge of the old world, past shattered bridges, past frozen lakes that hum with ancient songs, past statues so weathered they look like ghosts kneeling in prayer. She walks until the ground ends, and then she sits on a stone shaped like a half-forgotten name, the same one she always returns to, the place the Ashwings last appeared. She sets the lantern down. Its light is dimmer now. It pulses barely. A quiet heartbeat of light. Illyra hums. Not a song, just a sound. Low, slow, and round. Like the way a mother might hum to a child who isn't there. The ash stirs around her, listening. The hollow sky holds its breath. And in that space, first feather falls, drifts like a snowflake, but it leaves behind a shimmer in the air. A hush, then another, and another. Soon the sky is full of them. Drifting, spinning, waiting. Illyra does not move. She only watches, because she knows. This is not a time for fear. It is a time for listening. And when the Ashwings come, they always have something to say. She remembers what the elders said long ago. When the sky forgets and the fire fades, the wings of ash will carry the last dream downward, and it must not be lost. Tonight is the last night. The ember cannot last another dusk. And Illyra, she can feel it in her chest. A slow, deep pull like sleep, like memory turning into mist. But she is not afraid, because even endings can be beautiful. Above her, the Ashwings begin to circle, spiral of silence. Each wing beat sends a ripple through the air, as if time itself is being folded gently. And then one of them breaks from the spiral. A single winged shape, not bird, not spirit, something older. It lands before her, silent, watching. Illyra bows her head, and the Ashwing bows back. And then, without a word, it opens its wings, and the air is filled with story. You're safe now, right here, right now. No need to think ahead. No need to remember what came before. Just breathe, slow and soft, in and out. Let your fingers loosen. Let your jaw unclench. Let the hush of the story wrap around you like mist. Because now we walk into memory, the kind that breathes with feathers. When the Ashwing opened its wings, Illyra did not flinch, did not gasp. She listened, because that's what Ashwings are. They are not ghosts. They are not monsters. They are the wind's way of remembering. And this one, it remembered her. Not her name, not her voice, but the shape of her grief. The warmth she kept inside her ribcage for years, nurturing a fire that could never grow, only glow. It knew her silence, the one that lived in her since the day the sun last burned. The Ashwing stepped closer and dropped a single feather. It did not fall like an object. It hovered, suspended in air, as if waiting to be noticed by time. Lyra reached for it. Gently, with the reverence one offers two final things. The feather brushed her skin, and her breath left her. Suddenly, she wasn't in the clearing. She wasn't in the hollow sky. She was inside the feather. And inside it, a world unfurled. Golden hills under a firelit sky. Children laughing in a field of pale flowers. A village ringing bells to greet the dawn. And above them all, the sky fire. Not a sun, but something closer. A golden flame held in a net of clouds, casting warmth like honey on the wind. She knew this place, Avrith, as it was before the hollowing. She saw herself, much younger, running barefoot through the rain, lantern swinging from her hip, eyes full of everything. And beside her, a boy, tall, quiet, kind. His name was Kellen. He was the first to believe she could keep the light. They had watched the sky change together, the first dimming, the first wing, the first ashfall. When the elders fled to the mountains, when the great bells fell silent, they stayed, not out of courage, but out of love for each other, for the village, for the light. But then came the storm of feathers, 1,000 Ashwings descending like mourning cloaks. Not angry, just true. They came to collect what the sky forgot. Kellen stepped forward. He touched the ember, whispered something only the sky heard, and vanished. Not in smoke, not in flame, just absence. Lyra screamed his name, but the sky only echoed back with silence, and when it cleared, only she remained. The ember had dimmed, the bells had cracked, and the world was ash. The feather lifted from her palm. The vision faded. But the feeling, that deep ancient ache, lingered like a lullaby sung too late. The Ashwing stepped back, its wings folded. Its body shimmered, not with light, but with knowing. And in that moment, Lyra understood. The Ashwings did not come to end things. They came to return what was lost. Not in body, but in truth, in memory so full, it glowed. The lantern at her side pulsed again, brighter now, just once. A heartbeat. And in that breath of light, she felt him. Kellen, not alive, not gone, but watching, waiting, like the sky itself. The Ashwing lowered its head, and for a moment, the hollow sky felt whole. No stars, no fire, just peace. The kind that doesn't need answers. The kind that stays, Lyra whispered. I remember. And the Ashwing melted into ash, drifting upward, as if unburdened, as if home. The wind returned, soft, warm, and the ember in the lantern. It did not flicker this time, it glowed. Let your breath settle again. There's no rush here. This world moves on dream time, and you are safe within it. Let your back sink into the bed beneath you. Let your limbs grow heavy, like feathers made of dusk, and listen. Not with your ears, but with that quiet part of you that knows how to feel story like a lullaby. Let's go on. The ember glowed now. Not with fire, not with flame, but with a kind of remembering, like the warmth you feel when you pass by a place you once loved. Didn't light the path ahead, it was the path. Lyra rose from the stone, the hollow place where the Ashwing had stood, now dusted in fresh, weightless ash. She held the lantern close, not because she feared its loss, but because it had grown warm in her hands, live almost, like a tiny heart pulsing with memory. She turned toward the forgotten road, toward the place the elders called the throat of sky, the place where ash falls upward, where time folds like silk, where the hollow listens. No one had walked that road in years, not because it was cursed, but because to go there meant you had something to give up, something precious, something final. Lyra's feet found the path on their own. She did not need light. The way revealed itself like breath on cold glass, appearing only when she stepped forward. The forest thinned into stone. The wind no longer whispered. It waited. And far above her, in the center of the hollow sky, a single winged shape circled, larger than the rest. Older. The Ashwing that bore no name. It's the one the elders feared to speak of. They called it the Witness. Not because it judged, but because it remembered everything. Every broken promise, every fallen lantern, every name whispered as a final breath, and it was waiting for her. The path led to a pool, black as sleep, still as stone. But when Alira approached, its surface shimmered. Not water, but memory. She knelt, held the lantern above it, and the pool began to glow. Images flickered across it like stars seen through tears. Her village wrapped in snowfall, forgotten lullabies sung by her mother, a younger version of herself holding Kellen's hand. Then, a face she did not know. Eyes closed, lips parted in silent prayer. Ash in his hair, a boy, a child. No name, no memory attached. But the ember in her lantern flared, and in that moment, she knew. This was the one the sky forgot. It's the one the Ashwings could not carry. Too young, too lost, too quiet. And somehow, still waiting. The pool rippled. Words formed in its surface, not spoken, but felt. Will you carry his name? Alira closed her eyes, breathed in, and said, yes. The moment she spoke it, the world shifted. Not violently, not loudly, just truthfully. As if the hollow sky had exhaled, the boy's image sank beneath the surface. The pool calmed, the lantern grew warmer still. It was no longer the last ember. It was a memory seed, a name replanted, a promise reignited. She stood again, holding it gently. The Ashwing above Hertha, Witness began to descend, wings wide, eyes closed, not threatening, just present. When it touched the ground, the ash around it stilled. It bowed its head once, and Alira stepped forward. She held out the lantern, and for the first time in generations, the Witness bowed back. No feathers fell, no visions came. Only warmth, only quiet, kind of quiet that follows forgiveness. The sky above cracked open, not with light, not with fire, but with clarity, as if all the dust of centuries had finally settled, and above them, something shimmered. Faint, but rising, shape made of wings and stars. Ash and song. The name she carried pulsed within the lantern, and in that moment, she understood. The Ashwings weren't just messengers of endings. They were the sky's way of planting light. Where it had once forgotten to, they were the gardeners of memory. And she was now one of them. Alira looked to the hollow sky. It no longer felt empty. It felt live. There you are, quiet again. Still, the hush in your body is growing. The calm in your chest, expanding like the sky itself. You've done well, dreamer. There's no need to grasp this story tightly. It will carry you gently like feathered wings over sleep. Let go. Let it move through you. Let it become your night. The Witness stepped back, its great wings folding like a cathedral gate. Quiet as the weight of old prayers, it did not vanish, did not retreat. It became still, becoming part of the hollow sky once again, like a thought finally laid to rest. Alira did not cry. She had no tears left for sorrow, only for wonder, only for the feeling that something ancient had finally come home. She turned, and the path behind her no longer led to stone. It was covered now, in ash that glowed softly beneath her feet, like sleeping coals beneath snow. A path reborn. She walked it slowly, each step a breath, each breath a step. And as she walked, things began to grow. Not flowers, not trees, but remembrances. The lantern at her side pulsed with light, not brighter, but deeper, a rich golden glow. And as it glowed, the ash responded. Out of the gray drift rose shapes. Memories turned to form. A crumbling village house rebuilt itself in silence. Cracked bell tower reformed, its spire reaching skyward. The sound of children's laughter echoed for just a moment, not present, but remembered so vividly it became real. And at the edge of it all, a small tree sprouted, thin, bare, but alive. Its bark shimmered with ember light. Its branches curled like ancient script, and from one branch, a single feather hung. Elira stepped closer. It was not ash, not smoke. It was ember, solid and lightless, yet humming with warmth. She reached out, and as her fingers closed around it, she heard a voice. Soft, childlike. Thank you. And then the feather melted into her skin. A gentle pulse moved through her. Not pain, not power, just peace. A new story finding its home. Inside her, and then she saw them. Others, not ghosts, not illusions, people. Not many, but enough. Lanterns in their hands. Faces worn, but calm. Walking paths of ash, like hers, scattered across the hollow sky, some near, some far, all glowing with that same ember warmth that she now carried. The hollow sky was no longer hollow. It was becoming whole. And in the wind, she felt the Ashwings moving, no longer mournful, but grateful. Their wings stirred not with sorrow, but with blessing. And from high above, a single tone rang out, a bell, clear and soft, echoing across the silence like the beginning of a song. Elira lifted her face to the wind. She smiled, because for the first time, she was not the last. She was the first of something new. A garden began to bloom behind her, made not of flowers, but of flame-kissed memory. Each petal a story, each stem a name. Above it all, the sky shimmered with feathers that would no longer fall. They danced now, they rose, they sang. And far beneath it, a child somewhere in the still world closed their eyes peacefully, not afraid, because the hollow sky is finally kind. You're drifting now. Can you feel it? The heaviness of your limbs, the softness blooming behind your eyes. Your breath matches the rhythm of the wind now, slow, deep, warm. You are no longer just listening to the story, you are inside it, floating, like ash lifted by a breeze. And here inside this hush, something beautiful begins. Elira walked the path of living ash, not alone, not anymore. Each step brought echoes. Not loud, not sharp, but true. She could feel them behind her now, others. Lanterns glowing with ember light, some steady, some flickering, all real. Not all had faces she knew. Some were old, worn thin by time, it's like carved moons. Others were young, barely taller than the lanterns they held. But they walked together, as if they'd always been meant to, as if their stories had longed. To touch, they did not speak. There was no need. Here silence spoke in warmth, in the hush of ash that no longer mourned, in the gentle hum that rose from the wind like a forgotten song returning to the tongue. Above them, the Ashwings soared. But they were not watchers anymore, not guardians. They were guides. Each one leaving behind a thin trail of stardust as they circled the slow-blooming sky. The hollow sky was filling, not with fire, with remembrance. Memory, when tended, glows like the quietest star. Elira stopped at a rise, small hill where the ash was warmest. She looked out and gasped. For her, the hollow sky was opening, not like a wound, but like a petal. Vast curtains of starlight folded back into themselves. Beneath them, a city, not like the old cities, not of stone or glass, but of light, built from memory, held aloft by breath and ash. Its towers hummed with gentle tones, notes that resonated deep in her chest, like a song she used to hum when she was too tired to sleep. No roads, just paths of wind, no walls, just doorways of ember light, leading inward. The city of still flame, Averith reborn, but not as it was meant to be. She stepped forward, and the path welcomed her. Each ember beneath her feet glowed a little brighter, and as the wind brushed her cheek, it carried a voice. No one's voice in particular, just thank you. In the city, lanterns hung from nothing. They floated like will-o-wisps, marking houses without roofs, beds without walls, homes without fear. Children of ash danced with shadows. Old ones knelt in gardens that bloomed memory. No one hurried, No one watched. They simply were. She came to a bridge that arched into nothing. Beneath it, a void of stars. Above it, the hollow light of peace. And on that bridge, he waited. Kellen, his lantern was gone. But his eyes, they held galaxies. He smiled without speaking. And she, for the first time in all the years since the falling, smiled back without breaking. She crossed the bridge. They did not embrace. They did not weep. They stood, and in the hush between them, 1,000 things were said, without a single word. The city behind them shimmered, the hollow sky no longer hollow. And as they stood there, a song rose. Low, slow, soft, like wings made of lullaby. Like ash that had learned how to sing, and far below, on the quiet plains, where no light had touched in years, a single flower bloomed. Not because it was planted, but because it was remembered. You're floating now. Let yourself drift a little further. There's no weight here, no edge, no time. Only the glow that lingers behind your closed eyes. Soft, warm, like the last light of a dream you don't need to understand to love. Just breathe, in quiet, out slower, down, into the final hush of the hollow. Illyra stood with Kellen on the bridge above the sky. That was below, stars turned in silence. Above, the Ashwings circled slowly, not in warning, but in rhythm. They were no longer watchers. They were part of the pattern now. Like breath, like dusk, like song. The city of still flame shimmered behind her, its buildings grown from longing, its lights from memory, its silence from peace. But it was not yet whole, not yet. There was still one place she had not gone. One door she had passed by in all her dreaming, and now it opened. She looked at Kellen. He nodded gently. Together, without words, they crossed the bridge. The sky shifted again. This time not to reveal something new, but something old. Something forgotten by even the Ashwings. The place beneath the first fall of ash, the cradle of flame. It was not made of fire. It was not warm. It was still. A great circular hollow in the center of the sky where no ember glowed, where even memory dared not rest. Illyra felt it in her bones. A gravity of grief, but not hers alone. They stepped into the cradle. The ash here did not move. The wind did not breathe. Even their lanterns dimmed. And at the center of the cradle, a single stone pedestal. Upon it, a bowl of white ash. Silent, still, Kellen stepped back. His lantern faded into the dim, leaving Illyra alone in the circle. She did not fear, she remembered. She had been here once before, as a child carried by her father in the night. He had whispered stories of a time before lanterns, before keepers, of when the sky still sang, of how the Ashwings were born from a single note forgotten by the stars. She knelt before the bowl and she wept, not out of sorrow, because she had found the first silence, the one that birthed the world. And in her hand, she held a name, not hers, not Kellen's, the name of the child, whose face she had seen in the ash. She spoke it, gently, reverently, and when she did, the bowl caught fire. But it was not fire that burned, it was light, not heat, but understanding. The ash in the bowl lifted, not in smoke, but in form. Figure began to take shape. Small, shimmering, a child, the forgotten one. The hollow sky held its breath, the Ashwings stilled. Kellen's hand found hers, and the light whispered, "You remembered me." The child stepped from the ash, not bound to it, but free, and as they did, the entire sky glowed. Every lantern in the hollow sky flared with gold. Every forgotten name echoed in the wind. The city of still flame rang like a bell tower, calling every soul home. The Ashwings sang. For the first time since the sky broke, they sang not in sorrow, but in joy. A soft, infinite note, a lullaby spun from stardust and sleep. The kind of song you do not remember when you wake, but that changes you all the same. The cradle was no longer hollow. The hollow sky was no longer empty, and Illyra was no longer the last. She was the first of many who would carry names through the silence. And somewhere, in the dust between stars, another lantern flickered awake. The hush is deep now, You've wandered so far, and still the path unfolds softly before you. Let your breath fall in rhythm again. In through your nose. Slow, warm, like drawing in the scent of ancient wood smoke. And out through your mouth, cool, quiet, like the sky exhaling stars. You are not lost here. You are exactly where the dream meant for you to be. And the story continues. The child of ash and ember stood beside Alira now, small and shining, not fragile, but whole. Their eyes reflected a sky older than memory, but their face was peaceful. She looked to Kellen, who had not moved. His expression held something new. Not longing. Not sorrow. Release, like a thread finally laid to rest. The cradle of flame glowed around them. It's no longer hollow, no longer cold. Ash stirred gently at their feet, spiraling in slow circles. It no longer fell. It rose. The child extended their hand. In it, a feather, not like the others. Not gray, not burnt, but golden white. Each barb shimmered with color that changed as it moved. Starlight woven with dusk, memory wrapped in light. They offered it to Alira. No words, just presence, just gift. She took it in both hands. It was warm, weightless, but pulsing, alive. And as she held it, the feather dissolved, not into ash, but into flame. A quiet, flickering light that did not burn her. Instead, it entered her, gently, completely, and her chest filled with warmth and silence and knowing. She felt them all, the names. Every forgotten child, every whisper, every flame that had once flickered and gone out. They weren't lost. They had simply been waiting for someone to carry them back. She was no longer just a keeper. She was a bearer. A weaver of light from silence. A gardener of memory in a sky made of stillness. And the hollow sky welcomed her. Around her, the other lantern bearers began to gather. One by one, guided by ashwings or dreams or silence. None of them spoke, but all of them carried light. And in that light, the sky bloomed. Where once had been empty blackness, new stars began to shimmer. Not suns, not fire, but witnesses. Each one a name, each one a life, each one a story, held gently in the dark. And the ashwings danced through them. No longer bound to sorrow, their wings left trails of gold and lavender, spiraling like breath through a cosmos that was no longer sleeping. The hollow sky was awakening. The child smiled at Alira. Their body began to fade, but not into shadow, into light. Feathers first, then hands, then eyes. And in their final moment, they whispered, "You remembered us." And then they were gone, not lost. Their light joined the stars above, another point of warmth in the sky that had once forgotten how to hold them. Kellen stepped forward, took Alira's hand. And for the first time in years, not in memory, not in vision, but truly, they walked together, not as echoes, but as keepers of the real. They passed under arches of ash-carved stone, through halls where wind whispered poetry, past lanterns that bloomed like flowers in the dark, and they were not alone. Others followed, some from cities still slumbering, some from the plains where only silence lived. All of them drawn by the new light blooming in the hollow sky, and the song the ashwings now sang. It was not loud, but it filled everything, and its melody felt like peace. You are still with me, still drifting in that warm, quiet place between waking and dream. No need to think. Let the story breathe for you. You are safe here. Where lanterns do not burn out, where wings do not fall, where silence is no longer emptiness, but invitation. As Alira and Kellen walked together through the city of still flame, their path unfolded like a scroll. Each step lit a new memory beneath their feet. A petal of glowing ash, a thread of old song, returning to the world. And around them, the sky listened. The ashwings flew higher now, not as sentinels, but as gardeners. Each beat of their wings sowed light across the sky, seeding new constellations where only blackness had lived. They no longer gathered sorrow, they gathered stories, all across the hollow sky. Others had begun to follow the ember paths. Villagers and wanderers, mothers with names in their hearts. Children who carried forgotten lullabies like feathers tucked beneath their tongues. Each came carrying a story, some broken, some buried, some half-remembered, but all real. And the sky welcomed them like soil welcomes the seed. At the edge of the city, Illyra stopped. Here the wind changed, blew inward, toward a hollow place she had never seen, not dark, not cold, but unwritten. A wide, flat plain of pale silver dust where nothing yet had formed. No lanterns, no ash, no stars. Only silence, not like before. This silence wasn't absence. It was possibility. The child had called it once. The silence that grows, Illyra knelt, scooping a handful of the silver dust, shimmered in her palm. Weightless. Cool. She didn't need to shape it, didn't need to command it. She simply whispered a name, and from her hand a tree grew. Not of wood, not of flame, but of memory. Each branch held a different name. Each leaf shimmered between being and breath, and beneath the roots. The hollow sky pulsed. Not like a heart, but like a cradle, holding everything gently. Kellen stepped forward, his hand full of dust. He whispered too, another name, another story, another bloom, and one by one those who followed began to kneel. They whispered names into the earth, some laughing, some weeping, some silent with awe. And each name was planted like a lantern in the dust. Each one took root. Soon the plain glowed, not with fire, not with starlight, but with truth, raw and beautiful. The hollow sky became a field of stories remembered. And in the wind, the Ashwings soared lower, dipping their wings into the new silence. They no longer wept. They no longer mourned. They listened. And for the first time they began to learn. Illyra looked around her, no longer alone. No longer the last. She saw lanterns carried by hands that had once trembled with grief. Now steady, now strong. She saw the cradle of flame no longer sunken, but risen, a hill of golden branches and flickering feathers. And above it all, the hollow sky shone like a lullaby sung backwards into time. She whispered, "Let this be our light." And the wind answered, "It always was. You're deep now, gentle dreamer. Right where you should be. Let the world around you fade, as this world quiet and glowing continues to open. You don't need to hold anything. Not thoughts, not worries, not even the story. It is holding you. All you must do is float in it, as stars are named again." The fields of silver dust shimmered gently underfoot. From them rose memory trees, each one bearing fruit that glowed faintly, like soft lanterns tied with forgotten ribbons. The bearers came from every corner of the hollow. Some walked alone, others hand in hand. A few arrived with closed eyes, carried by wind, carried by dreams. Each planted a name, in the sky, learned to remember. Illyra wandered quietly among the trees. Each one hummed a little differently, as though tuned to the soul of the name it held. Some whispered lullabies. Some echoed lost laughter. Some held a silence so deep it brought peace just to stand near them. They were not monuments. They were beginnings. One tree caught her eye. Its trunk was marked with soft runes, curling shapes that looked like feathers woven into flame. Its branches bore only one name, but that was enough. She recognized it. It was the child. It's the one she had remembered. She reached up, touching the lowest branch. And from it, a single star fell, not with weight, not with sound, but like a snowflake drawn gently to her palm. The moment it touched her skin, it spoke, not in language, in memory. A day from a forgotten childhood, dancing barefoot in the ashes of a spring storm, a wooden flute in her hand, a song she never wrote down, but still remembered in her bones. She had sung it to someone, someone small, someone scared, someone who laughed because she laughed first. The memory faded, but its warmth stayed, and the star in her palm dissolved, not into ash, into light. The hollow sky was now filled with them, tiny stars gathered by those who remembered, each one placed gently back into the tapestry above. And slowly, what once had been a blank, aching void became a constellation of remembrance. The Ashwings glided between them. Some carried stars from hand to hand. Others simply listened to the hush between stories. Their wings were no longer coated in soot. Now they shimmered like the underbelly of a moonlit cloud, like parchment that had caught fire and found beauty in its own burning. Kellen joined her beneath the tree. He held no lantern. He was the lantern. His presence glowed quietly, his breath steady. Illyra looked up at him. He nodded slowly and pointed toward the horizon. There, in the farthest distance of the hollow sky, the horizon had cracked open. Not violently, but with invitation. It glowed like a seam of dawn, a slow golden breath rising from the edge of sleep. No one had ever walked that far. No story had stretched its fingers to the other side. But Illyra felt it deep in her heart, beneath the feather, beneath the ember. There was more. Beyond the hollow sky, beyond the remembered flame, she wasn't afraid. Kellen held out his hand. She took it. And together, with hundreds now behind them, they stepped forward. The dust gave way to light. The air grew stiller, thicker with possibility. And the wind carried a promise. For every name remembered, another star will rise. And far above, the hollow sky hummed softly, a lullaby for the new world. Whisper sung not to end the night, but to begin the dreaming. You are weightless now, so close to sleep you can feel it breathing beneath your skin. Every blink is slower, every breath deeper, and the story is wrapping itself around you like a blanket of stars. You do not need to finish it, only feel it. You are drifting with the wanderers now. You are part of the hollow. Let's walk a little further together, to the very edge of the dreaming. The golden seam on the horizon widened as Illyra and Kellen approached. Behind them, the city of Still flame dimmed, not from loss, but from rest. Its towers flickered like candles nearing the wick, warm, low, eternally glowing. A final breath, not of ending, but of readiness. The lantern bearers moved in silence, some joined hands. Others walked barefoot. Even the Ashwings followed now, not above. But among them, wingtips brushing lanterns, feathers scattering quiet sparks with every step.
No one asked where the path ended. They didn't need to know.
Because it wasn't a path to somewhere, it was a path through. The golden seam shimmered like a sunrise beneath the skin. It didn't blind, it beckoned. A soft, silent invitation to those who remembered, to those who carried names, to those who had made the hollow sky whole again. And when Illyra stepped across the final breath of ash, she felt no fear, no tension, no burden, only lightness. Like setting something down that had been held for too long, and realizing it had never truly been heavy. The space beyond the seam was not sky, not earth, not even silence. It was music before it had been sung. A hush before the first lullaby. The place where stories are born and sleep waits patiently to take your hand. There was no time there, only rhythm, only warmth. Illyra turned back once, saw the glow of the lanterns, the feathers drifting upward, and she smiled, because no one had to be left behind. The dreaming had room for all. She felt Kellen step beside her, felt the last feather from her lantern rise from her shoulder and float gently into the starlit hush. It pulsed once and dissolved into sleep, and then the wind spoke, not as a voice, not as a thought, but as a feeling that wrapped itself gently around her heart. You have remembered well, now rest. The sky remembers you too. And so she did. She rested, not with eyes closed, not with body still, but with spirit finally at peace. The Ashwings spiraled once above the dreaming, and then they faded into starlight. Not gone, just home. And beneath them, the hollow sky breathed, and bloomed, and whispered, "Sleep now, lantern bearer. You are the story. You are the light. We will carry you through every sky that comes. You are still floating with me, still wrapped in this soft place between story and slumber. Every moment you drift deeper, the world grows gentler. You are no longer listening with ears. You are listening with your breath, with your dreaming heart. So stay with me just a little longer. The veil is thin now, and something beautiful waits beyond it." Illyra stood at the edge of the hollow sky, her lantern now only a memory, her hands no longer heavy with names. Everything around her shimmered with truth. Not sharp truth, not hard, but the kind of truth that feels like holding someone you thought you lost. Beyond the veil, the world was not lit. It glowed. Soft, shifting radiance, like dreams being born from the ashes of forgotten stories. Kellen stepped forward first, his form barely held by light. Not fading, just loosening, like the way flame becomes smoke when it's no longer needed to warm the night. Illyra reached out. Quat, tighter, tied. And when their fingers touched, a single feather passed between them, golden white, light as breath. It pulsed once, then floated upward. Joining the others, he smiled at her. And with that smile, he crossed the veil. There was no sound, no burst of light, only stillness. It's a kind that lives in lullabies, the kind that means peace. Illyra turned back and looked across the hollow sky one last time. Lanterns swayed in slow rhythm. The trees of memory bloomed quietly. Ashwings rested in high places, heads tucked, wings curled around soft dreams, and the stars, they were no longer falling. They were waiting. Waiting for those who dreamed, for those who wandered, for those who remembered. Waiting for you. Because this is not just a Lyra story. It is yours. You have walked with her. Breathed with her, remembered beside her. Somewhere within you now, a lantern glows too. A small, steady flame. A name. A light. A promise. If you listen, in the hush just before sleep, you might hear it flicker. Might feel the soft feather resting in your chest. Might see the hollow sky glow faintly behind your closed eyes. Because the story isn't ending. It is resting. And so can you. You have nothing to carry now. The sky remembers for you. So close your eyes. Let your breath drift like ash in a golden wind. And know, the dream will carry you the rest of the way. Sleep now, gentle bearer of light. You've done enough. The stars will keep your name. You're still here, still floating, held gently in the folds of the hollow. You've come so far, so far. And now, there is nothing left to reach for, because you've already found it. All that remains is to let the light in you glow quietly, without effort, without thought. Let it dream, just like the story's doing now. Illyra sat at the edge of the veil. She did not need to cross it yet. There was no push, no pull, only invitation. She watched the hollow sky cradle its own silence. The trees of memory shifted gently, their branches nodding in an unseen breeze. Feathers drifted like snow. Lanterns hummed faintly, as if breathing in sleep. And somewhere far across the vast starlit field, a song rose. Not one of sorrow, not even one of joy, but one of completion, a sound that said, I am still here. I am still part of this. It did not call Illyra to follow, it simply reminded her she was not alone. She looked down at her hands, no longer worn, no longer scarred by ash or time. They glowed faintly, like the last warmth of a fire before it chooses rest. In her lap, something flickered. She looked down. A lantern, the one she had carried. Not the same old weight. This one was small, round like an orb, and inside it, a feather curled in sleep. Its glow was slow, rhythmic, and as she watched it, the feather moved, just barely, just enough to remind her even light dreams. She touched the glass. It was warm. The instant her fingers brushed it, she felt them, all of them. It's every name she had ever remembered, every step she had taken. The hollow, the city, the cradle, the child. Even Kellen, they lived here now. Within this lantern, not trapped, but resting. Suddenly she understood. She wasn't here to end anything. She was here to carry the dreaming into the next world. Like a hush carried between breaths. Like a song humming beneath silence. The lantern pulsed, and she smiled. Because that was all it needed. Her smile. Her stillness. Her yes. She stood again. The edge of the veil shimmered with soft gold, Hollow sky behind her glowed steady, its wings folded, its memory complete. And as she stepped through the veil at last, the lantern in her hand grew weightless. Lighter than thought, lighter than ash, drifted ahead of her, leading the way into a place where dreams became stars, and stars began to whisper. The new sky opened, not hollow, it's not full, but waiting. A breath not yet exhaled. And Illyra, the lantern bearer, the keeper of ash, the dreamer of wings, walked onward. But not alone. Not ever again. This is how stars are born, whispered the wind, not from fire, not from dust, but from the dreams we dare to carry into the dark. And somewhere beyond sleep, your own lantern flickers softly in the hush, waiting, ready, glowing gently in your chest as you breathe. You're still here, gentle soul, still resting inside the light in the sky. The sky is resting with you. There's nothing you need to hold on to now. Let your body sink deeper, your breath slower, your thoughts softer. Let go of the path behind you. The hollow has no end, only deeper stillness. And the deeper you drift, the clearer the dream becomes. Lyra moved now not with steps, but with presence. The air around her shimmered, neither warm nor cold, but aware. Every breath she took was a ripple in the sleeping veil, and the lantern before her still glowed. Soft, steady. It's like a heart no longer afraid to dream. She no longer walked in a world made of ash. The ash had become memory. The memory had become light. And the light had become you. Because this sky was not a place. It was a feeling. A hush folded over the soul. A cradle made of every moment we forgot we were loved. The sky that sleeps with you isn't above you. It is within. In the pause before sleep, the softness of your last thought. In the warmth between one breath and the next. And Illyra felt it now. The same light glowing behind her closed eyes. She no longer needed to carry the lantern. She was the lantern. A feather drifting in starlight. A name held in peace. A keeper, yes, but also a child once more. All around her, the dream deepened. Stars gathered slowly in the quiet, no longer scattered. They formed constellations now, but not of myth, memory. You could trace them like stories on skin, a laugh here, a tear there, a breath that once saved a stranger. And every time one blinked into being, a new hush blossomed. A hush filled not with sleep, but with belonging. The sky that sleeps with you does not ask anything of you. It does not judge the weight you carry. It does not count the dreams you forgot. It simply holds you, like Illyra held that last feather, like the Ashwings held their silence. With care, with grace, with no need for answers. She felt herself slowing now, not from weariness, but from fullness. The dream didn't need her to walk anymore. It needed her to rest. And so she did. She lay down in a bed of silver moss, woven by stars, cradled by the wind. The lantern nestled beside her dimmed until it matched her heartbeat, soft, even, peaceful. She looked once toward the veil and through it. She saw others arriving, some she knew, many she did not, each one carrying something light, a feather, a name, a whisper, all of them coming home. She closed her eyes, and the hollow sky wrapped itself around her like a lullaby, not one that ends, but one that waits. Sleep now, whispered the stars. We are here. You are so close now, close to the deepest part of rest, close to the place where dreams begin, but do not need to end. Let everything fall away now, the day, the thoughts, even the story. You don't need to listen, you only need to feel it, like a feather against your chest, like a lullaby that never needed words. The sky remembers for you now, just as the feathers do. Illyra slept, but it was not the sleep of endings, it was the sleep of becoming. As her breath softened, so too did the stars above her. They folded themselves around her, still form like 1,000 gentle wings. Not to protect, but to remember, because feathers remember everything. The winds they rode, the hands that held them. The silences they passed through without being seen. Even the stories that were never spoken aloud. Feathers remember them all. And one by one, as she lay quiet beneath the hollow sky, those memories unfurled. Not with noise, not with light, but with presence. A small girl with ash in her hair stood in a field of lanterns, watching them bloom like flowers in the dusk. A mother's hand guided a child's fingers to trace the name of someone they never met, but would never forget. A lonely traveler in a rain-washed town lit a single flame and whispered, "I hope you made it home." These weren't Elira's memories. They were the world's. She was simply the place they had chosen to gather, like mist choosing a valley, like wings choosing the wind. And still she slept, wrapped in the arms of stars that did not need her to shine, only to rest. Above her, the Ashwings no longer flew. They drifted, like snowflakes made of breath. It's like memories that refused to vanish. They were no longer watchers. They were witnesses. And their silence was the loudest love the sky had ever known. One feather fell. It landed gently on Elira's chest. Not heavy, not bright, it's true. And as it touched her, it glowed not with fire, but with memory. And this is what it remembered. A girl who listened, a boy who waited, a child who spoke no words but still changed the world. A sky that had been hollow and was now whole. And this too, that sleep is not forgetting. It is remembering with your whole soul. It is what wings do when they are no longer needed. It is what stories do when they've been told well enough to dream themselves forward. Lyra's breath moved once more. Slow, steady, at peace. And far above her, in the hush of the hollow sky, a single word formed, not spoken, but felt in every feather, in every flame, in every soul that dreamed beside her. Home. This is the end, sweet one, but not the kind of end that closes. This is the kind that opens. Like the last breath before sleep, like the final feather drifting into your hand, like a lantern, quietly going out, because its light has been carried on. By you, Elira's breath now matched the hollow itself, not shallow, not fading, just still. Above her, the stars no longer flickered. They glowed, alive with memory, alive with names, alive with story. The hollow sky was no longer hollow. It was full of feathers, of flame, of voices that didn't need to speak to be heard. And where Elira lay, the moss beneath her body shimmered faintly, alive with the dust of old ash that had become light. Around her lantern, flowers had bloomed, not from soil, but from story. Each petal bore the shape of a wing, each one pulsing gently. In time with the last ember's glow, and slowly, the lantern's flame began to dim. Not from sorrow, not from loss, but because it had found peace, because the story it had guarded was now part of the sky. It no longer needed to burn, it needed to rest. And as it dimmed, the hollow sky leaned low and pressed itself against the lantern's glass, like a parent kissing a sleeping child's brow, and the flame whispered once, just once before sleep took it completely, "Thank you." Then the lantern went still, not gone, just dreaming now. And far above, a new constellation appeared. Its shape, a feather cradled in an open hand. And its name, Lyra? The Ashwings gathered one final time, not to guard, or not to mourn, but to witness. As the girl who remembered became part of the sky, as her rest became everyone's peace, and even now, if you look up with your eyes closed tight, you might see her there, still dreaming, still glowing, still keeping light for anyone who's forgotten their own. So now rest. You've followed the story all the way to its quiet heart. You've walked through ashes, carried feathers, lit lanterns, heard lullabies no one else remembered. Now you may sleep. The hollow sky is whole. The Ashwings are home. And your name is safe in the stars. Good night, Lantern Bearer. You are remembered. And your light will never fall.